Welcome to Star 131, Study Section 1, Statistical Data. Types, Sources, and Methods of Collection. Introduction. Statistics plays important role in nearly all phases of human endeavor. It is used by researchers in many fields to organize, analyze, and summarize data. The importance of statistics in agriculture and biological sciences, chemical science, sociological and political science, and other fields cannot be overemphasized. The raw material for any statistical investigation and its analysis is data. This study session will introduce you to statistical data, its types, sources, and methods of data collection. Learning outcomes for study section 1. At the end of this study session, you should be able to explain the meaning of the term statistics, distinguish between quantitative and qualitative data, list the sources of data, identify different data collection methods. Meaning of statistics and data. Statistics is usually defined as a scientific method for collecting, organizing, summarizing, presenting, and analyzing data, as well as drawing valid conclusions and making reasonable decisions on the basis of such analysis. Descriptive statistics involves organizing, displaying pictures, charts, diagrams, and summarizing information from data, while inferential statistics involves methods of using information from a sample to draw conclusions about the population. Data are numerical facts that affect the quality and interpretation of any analysis. Data, which is the plural form of datum, are collected in many aspects of everyday life. Raw data are information given on what to buy, drink, number of students who sat for examinations, and so on. Raw data are collected data which have not been organized numerically. That is, the data have not been treated statistically. Hence, data is the information collected either on all items or characteristics of an individual or group of individuals for any purpose. Types of data. The numbers with which a statistician user of statistics begins are of two types: measurements and frequencies. 1. Measurement. When an observed event is translated into numerical values, the data are called measurements. For example, weight expressed in kilograms is a measurement of body mass, height expressed in centimeters is a measurement of linear body size. Some levels of measurement are nominal, no ranking or ordering of data; ordinal, arranged in some order, but the differences between the data values are meaningless; interval, data values can be ranked and the differences between data values are meaningful; ratio, similar to interval, but there is a true zero or starting point and the ratios of data values have meaning. 2. Frequency. This is a record of the number of times of occurrence of an event. Types of statistical data. Basically, there are two types of statistical data. These are A. Quantitative data, B. Qualitative data. 1. Quantitative data. These are measurements that have magnitude and the variables are measured on at least the interval scale. This can be discrete or continuous. A variable is a symbol that can assume any of a prescribed set of values that takes only integer values, that is, whole number is a discrete variable and it is described by a discrete data. For example, the number of times a student sat for an examination before he or she passed, the number of children in a family. On the other hand, a continuous variable can take any value between any two numbers on the real line and it is described by continuous data, e.g., the weight of an individual, the temperature of a patient. In general, Measurements give rise to continuous data, while counts give rise to discrete data. 2. Qualitative data. Some events cannot be expressed in numerical form. For example, sex, male and female, marital status, single, married or divorced. These variables have no numerical magnitude. They are called attributive data because each category is associated with an attribute of the variable. Hence, the name categorical data. When the variable has only two possible categories, we call it binary variable. Example is sex that can be categorized as male and female. Categorical variables with more than two possible values are called polytomous variables. Example is blood pressure, BP, which can be categorized as low BP, normal BP, and high BP. Sources of data. The data used in a statistical survey, whether variable or attributes collected for a given purpose, can either be primary or secondary data. Primary data. These are data collected at first hand. Simply, they are collected fresh by researcher for the specific purpose of whatever is being investigated. Primary data are also referred to as raw data and are the basic raw material in statistics. Sources of primary data. 1. Census, total enumeration, e.g. population census. 2. Sample surveys, e.g. an inquiry on the food expenditure of a certain group. 3. Administrative process, e.g. record of birth and death. Advantages of primary data. 1. It constitutes the exact information being sought for. 2. There is no misunderstanding as to the definitions or scope of the terms used, hence they are reliable. 3. It constitutes more detailed information. 4. The investigator knows where the data came from, the circumstances under which they were collected, and any limitations or inadequacies in the data, thus minimizing errors. Disadvantages of primary data. 1. It is relatively expensive to collect when compared to secondary data. 2. It takes time in its collection. 3. It may involve a large non-response. Secondary data. These are data or statistics taken from someone or somewhere else after being worked upon to an extent but can be reused or adapted for the surveys being conducted. Very often, the data were originally collected for some other purposes, e.g. for administrative reasons. Sometimes, they are available in published form, e.g. external trade statistics in the annual abstract of statistics. Therefore, they are data extracted from already existing data. Sources of secondary data. 1. Publications, e.g. Annual Abstract of Statistics Bulletin. 2. Research organizations. 3. Tertiary institutions, e.g. polytechnic, university, colleges of education, etc. 4. Media organization. 5. Administration records. Advantages of secondary data. 1. It saves time, manpower, and resources. 2. It is cost-effective, that is, less expensive to collect. 3. It is easier to collect compared to primary data. 4. The information is quickly gathered. 5. The results are easily available for decision-making. Disadvantages of secondary data. 1. It may not give the exact information required, hence, it tends to be less accurate. 2. It usually involves loss of details. 3. The data may not be in the most suitable form. 4. The collected data may be out of date at the time of collection. 5. The coverage may not be adequate for the purpose of inquiry. 6. Errors in processing, which may result from miscalculation, interview bias, and so on, might not be known to the investigator. Methods of data collection. Data collection is an activity aimed at collecting information to satisfy a specific purpose. The method used to collect such data goes to a large extent in determining the results. The various methods include direct observation, experimentation, personal interview, mail or postal questionnaire, and telephone interview. Direct observation. This entails observing and recording what actually happened at the time of occurrence. Advantages of direct observation. 1. Every unit of the population is observed. 2. It provides first-hand and authentic picture of a situation. 3. It is good for studying small committee of institutions in some community or investigating how people live and behave under given condition. Disadvantages of direct observation. 1. It is only suitable for a small sample. 2. It gives too much scope to the subjective influence of the individual investigator. 3. The scope of application of the method is limited. Experimentation. This refers to data collection through laboratory tests and measurement of variables. Advantages of experimentation. 1. It is reliable when life is involved, especially in basic and medical services. 2. Accurate and reliable information are ensured. Disadvantages of experimentation. 1. It is time-consuming. 2. It is expensive. 3. It is difficult to use when the population is large. Personal interview. This is a face-to-face exercise involving the interviewer and respondent. Advantages of personal interview. 1. The respondent action can be observed. 2. The respondent can be further interviewed. 3. Interview can help when memory fails. Disadvantages of personal interview. 1. The interviewer's bias may be imposed on the respondent. 2. It is a costly method of collecting data. 3. The coverage is limited. 4. There will be a callback. Mail postal questionnaire. This is a method of collecting information through postal services to the respondent. Advantages of mail questionnaire. 1. Confidential information can be revealed. 2. It is a cheap way of collecting information, especially when the population is large. 3. It is used for questions demanding well-considered answer than the immediate ones. 4. The interviewer bias is absent. Disadvantages of mail questionnaire. 1. Questionnaires can get lost on transit. 2. It can be completed by a wrong person. 3. The response rate is usually small. 4. It is not an appropriate method when spontaneous answer is needed. Telephone interview. This is a method of collecting information through phone call. Advantages of telephone interview. 1. Quick response is assured. 2. It is a cheap method of collecting information. 3. The interviewer bias may be absent. 4. The respondent can be probed. The coverage is wide. 5. Callback / non-response is usually small. Disadvantages of telephone interview. 1. It is suitable only for a special purpose. 2. Respondent bias cannot be avoided. 3. It is only suitable for special population. 4. The method becomes inappropriate if the telephone services are inefficient. Summary of Study Section 1. In this study session, you have learned 1. The concise definition and meaning of statistics. 2. Quantitative and qualitative data. 3. Primary and secondary data. 4. Methods of data collection. This is the end of Study Section 1. Thanks for listening.